Right, I'm here. Sorry, I can only eat so fast. Oh, I should post to Facebook as well. Whoops. All right. So, yeah, we're here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Hopefully, we're all up and running fine. I think so. Okay. Still no movement yet, but we should be getting underway soon. Let me just shut the door. Alright, welcome. It looks like we're getting underway now, so it's going to be a short qualifying for 18 minutes, followed by a 50% race around Canada. And the thing to keep an eye on here is going to be the track limits. A lot of people are going to be falling foul of that, and I think if you avoid track limits penalties for a 50% race around Canada, you're doing a good job, and you're probably going to make up spots. So it's going to be all about the penalties here, I think. I expect the only people I expect to avoid penalties are probably Vardy, Scott, and perhaps Davila, and maybe Sumo as well. But everyone else, I think, will likely fall foul of track limits here, because Canada is very harsh on that. But it looks like we're good to go to start qualifying. For race 10 of the APPF1 Championship. So we are underway. 18 minutes of qualifying. We're going to see who comes out first. Make sure not to forget your setup, guys, because that would be a bit of a disaster. So, currently it's Scott who leads the championship for McLaren. Hello, Mark. You sure that's enough G's? I think you could go for more there. But yes, it's Scott who currently leads the championship by 4 points over the Red Bull of Vardy. Vardy has missed a race, but it's Vardy the favourite to win this race, of course, because he's won all of the last 5 races, and if you don't count the race he missed, he's won all of his last 7 races. The only race he hasn't won in this championship that he has competed in is race 1, so where he came 6th. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep up that form. I'm going to get my stats on the screen. We can go to that. We can go to country enabled, lap data, and full track map. There we go. Okay, I think that's everything. So it looks like Davila's the first to come out for Haas. He's gone on the medium tyres, which is interesting. So we'll ride on board as he comes around the final chicane to start his first flying lap. So the benchmark here is going to be interesting on the medium tyres. Oh, we've got... who else is that coming out? I think that's Tia out on track as well for the Red Bulls. But here comes Dave. He needs to hook up the first sector well. It's probably just going to be a benchmark here. I'm not sure if anyone's going to qualify on the mediums. It looks like someone's had a spin in sector 3, or maybe that's just the game glitching out. It looks like a glitch because I can't see anyone going slowly, but there you go, that's enough G's. My prediction, it's tough. I think it's going to depend quite a lot on who gets penalties. I'm gonna say Vardy wins. Oh, bit of a lock up there into the hairpin. That's going to cost Davila a lot of time. Yeah, I think Vardy will win, and I think Scott will come second. And I think if he doesn't make any mistakes, Speed Alcoholic should come third. But Davila or Sumo should be right up there as well, assuming they don't get penalties, which Dave has just gotten, so he's invalidated that lap. It looks like a Renault is going to come across the line for the first lap. It's Sumo, it's a 1 minute 9.7 on the softs, which isn't too bad at all. So we'll have to see who else is coming across the line. Speed Alcoholic does a 1 minute 10.1. He'll definitely be looking to improve on that. There's a lot of invalidated laps going on, I think. Certainly from one of the Mercedes, S-Man I think did an invalidated lap there. Aces gets a 1 minute 13.7 on the mediums, so he'll be probably coming back out on the softs, having seen everyone else do laps on their softs, and I would think it would be the same for Davila after his lap. Scott does a 1 minute 10.0. Bluey right up there with a 9.8. That's a decent lap from Bluey in the Alfa Romeo. So only 13 drivers today, but should still be enough to put on a good show. I'm interested to see Vardy coming across the line and what time he's going to set. I think he's on a fast lap now. Oh no, he's invalidated it, so he'll have to come out again for another lap. Palfs does a 25.5, so obviously made a mistake there. Tia up to 4th with a 10.1. So yeah, Vardy into the pits after invalidating. I'm not sure where he did it, but we'll have to see. Aces versus Kings, there we go. On the medium tyres, does a 1 minute 9.757. That was his second lap out as well. And that is a real benchmark from Aces versus Kings. Who is currently sitting 3rd in the championship with 121 points. Is 41 behind Scott. So it's probably safe to say he's not in championship contention, but you never know what could happen. Scott and Vardy could take each other out at some point, and Aces versus Kings could find himself in contention. The only reason he really isn't in contention is thanks to a couple of bad races to at the earlier end of the season, and then of course a DNF in race 5, which, with the point system that we're going with here for APPF1, it's 20 for first place, all the way down to 1 for 20th place. So a very linear point system, which means DNFs will cost you big time, because it's very difficult to gain points back on your rivals. So we'll have to see how that shakes up. Maybe Aces vs Kings can mount a title challenge towards the later end of the season if Vardy and Scott both have a couple of bad races, but Vardy's on an outlap after invalidating his first lap, so we'll see how that goes. We'll change back to spectator view. S-Man's done an 11.2 on the mediums, but yeah, Aces vs Kings looking very, very strong here. Currently the fastest lap on the mediums, and everyone else with competitive laps is on the softs. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Vardy coming around the hairpin now to begin his second attempt at a flying lap. It looks like Aaron as well is coming across the line. Is this a lap? Yes, it is. What's it going to be? It's on the mediums, a 1 minute 10.5. So right on board for Vardy for his lap. Comes past the chicane of turns 13 and 14. Into turn 1, needs a nice late break and early entry, and he gets that quite well. Little lockup, but that will be fine for him. He'll be looking to set a benchmark here, so I wouldn't expect the fastest lap that Vardy could possibly do here. Because obviously invalidating his first lap, he'll just want to get a time on the board for now, and then improve on it later. But he goes purple in sector 1, so it's time for me to eat my words here, as Vardy will blow Aces vs Kings time out of the water if he continues. But he's got to try not to invalidate, and the turn 13-14 chicane is a prime place to invalidate your lap. He goes purple in sector 2 as well. Coming around the hairpin, a little lock up, but it's very difficult not to lock up there. So we see an Alpha Tauri get out of the way for him. Hello Sonic, welcome to the stream. And here comes Vardy around the chicane. Will he invalidate? No, he took it very cautiously. And round he comes to finish his lap. What's it going to be? It's a 1 minute 8.9, and now that is a benchmark. Aces vs Kings will likely be the closest to it, after 9.7 on the mediums, but there we go. Now we have the real times being set. And Vardy has just set a big challenge to everyone else on the grid. Is Davila on a lap? Yes, he was. He did a 1 minute 9.5, so still 6/10 down on Vardy. Vardy, both the qualifying king and the race king. Much like his races, every single race bar one that he's competed in this season, he has won it. And every single qualifying session he has competed in, bar one, he has gotten pole position, only failing to do so at Bahrain Short a few weeks ago. So Vardy is got to be the favourite here, as Palfs puts in a great lap to go second, a 1 minute 9.4, a tenth above Davila, and that's a great effort from Palfs there. I'm not sure how everyone's pace is around this track. Vardy is a robot, yeah. He may well be. He doesn't seem to make mistakes, does he? Other than the odd penalty here and there, but it never seems to cost him. He's always too far ahead for it to matter when he does get them, and he still doesn't get them very often. So who is on a lap right now? I think Sumo's on a lap? Yes, he is. Or is that an in-lap? Oh no, this is an in-lap, never mind. So who's on a lap? Is Patterson on a lap? Obviously not. Yeah, he's a cyborg, he might as well be. Well, he leads the laps led counter as well by a significant margin. Currently he has led 195 laps in this championship after 9 races. The closest to him is his championship rival Scott with only 51 laps led. And then third place is Ace versus Kings with 13 laps led, which really shows how dominant Vardy has been in this championship so far, and it's going to take a really large effort from Scott, and probably a poor race from Vardy he needs in order to challenge for the title. Just wait until Vardy gets a wheel, then he'll be normal again. Yeah, he'll be normal for a period of time, but by no means forever. I'm sure he'll get used to it pretty quickly, knowing him. Sumo, by the way, it looks like he wasn't on in a lap. He did a 1 minute 9.4 on that lap, so just behind Pulse by just over 100th of a second. So it's quite competitive out there for second place, but Vardy is far above the competition right now. Scott is going to be one to watch. He's currently on an in lap, it looks like, because he invalidated that one. Looks like Rasto, who's filling in for Miralez tonight. I think his first race in the community, so good luck to Rasto. But it looks like he's gone off in Sector 1, which is unfortunate, but plenty more opportunities. He's already done a 1 minute 10.0, so he's certainly got some good pace on him. Aaron goes 6th with a 9.6 there. Looks like Scott's coming across the line. Oh, he's going for another lap maybe, but looks like he's invalidated it again already. How's he managed that? Turn 1. That's very unfortunate for Scott, and he's going to have to waste more time coming around the track again to get into the pits. So he'll only get 2 more laps, absolute maximum, but Scott's not going to be very happy with that. Who's on a lap right now? Everyone looks like they're coming into the pits. Is Speed Alcoholic on a lap? Bluey? Bluey's on a lap, here he comes. Up to the line, he's a 10th behind, but he's invalidated it as well. And he was a 10th behind his best anyway. So, yeah, I think Scott's going to be one to watch for his last couple of laps, because he'll be looking to do a lot better than 9th, and he needs to in order to keep the championship lead for this race. He only leads by 4 points over Vardy as it stands. Looks like everyone's coming into the pits right now. Is Vardy on an in-lap? Yes, he is. He's done a faster lap, in fact. I'm sorry, I missed that one. But here comes Pals. He's a 10th up on his best as he comes around the final chicane and onto the straight. Looks like he took it fairly well. What's it going to be? A 9.421. Just under half a 10th better than his previous effort, but still 7/10 from Vardy. And it's very clear who the favourite for this race is, judging by that. This race obviously is going to be decided by penalties to a large extent, but I don't think it'll be decided for first place by penalties, given how fast Vardy is looking at the moment. Welcome, we've got 9 viewers, so welcome on all to the stream. I hope you can stand my voice for the next hour and a half. As we have what's hopefully going to be a very exciting Canadian Grand Prix, as Ace versus Kings comes across the line now to start a flying lap. So obviously he's done a 1 minute 9.7 on the mediums already, so he's come out on the softs now, having seen everyone else's lap. And given that medium lap, Aces versus Kings might well try and challenge Vardy for pole position here. No one else has gotten anywhere close so far. But can Aces versus Kings challenge the Red Bull for pole here in Canada? He comes around to end off sector 2 here. It's looking good so far, very clean. What's the time going to be? 4/10 better than his mediums lap, and he doesn't lock up into the hairpin. It's a good entry. Decent exit as well. Here he comes onto the back straight, coming into the turn 13-14 chicane. And Aces versus Kings just needs to be wary of track limits here. He probably doesn't have enough time to do another lap, and he was very careful there, it has to be said. And here he comes up to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 9.3. So still 6/10 away from Vardy, but it does put him second on the grid. Paus is indeed starting to fly. It was a great lap from him, 1 minute 9.4. He didn't improve much on his previous best, but it could well be enough to keep him in third place right as it is. But who else is on a lap? S-Man, looks like, is finishing a lap now. Oh no, sorry, he's coming into the pits, so S-Man's going to have to settle for 13th for the race on the grid. Patterson comes out to finish his lap. Can he improve on his time? Yes, he can, 9.8. Good lap from Patterson there, puts him 8th as it stands. But Scott is going to be one to watch. Here he comes down the final chicane. He's 6/10 up on his previous best. Can he take second place? Yes, he can. 1 minute 9.1. And there we go. We were talking about Scott being further down than he deserved. And there he goes up into second place. About 4 or 5/10 off Vardy. So if Vardy has a bad race, then Scott will be right there to pick up the pieces if he has a bad start or something, and Scott is notoriously good at his race starts. So it's going to be tough for Vardy to hold him off into turn 1. I think pole position has the inside? Does pole position have the inside to turn 1 or the outside on this track? I can't remember. But Rasto has put in a good effort here for 9th place. His first race in the community, but qualifying is now over. Speed Alcoholic will be disappointed with 7th place, I think. But is anyone else on a lap? I don't think so. Aces versus Kings has gone 3rd, which drops Paus down to 5th, and Sumo went 4th as well, just about beating Paus to that position. And pole position has the outside of turn 1. Okay, so Vardy's going to have to be really careful of Scott for the start of the race. That's going to be something to watch. Scott, very, very good at his race starts. So Vardy will have to cover that inside, or risk losing the lead into turn 1. But yeah, hello Paul, big shout out for Patterson89. He's currently going to sit 11th on the grid, so he'll be hoping to gain some time, but he's not too far off the pace at all, only about 2/10 off Bluey. And qualifying is pretty tough for someone who's not as used to racing without assists, other than the racing line, of course. But yeah, we'll be hoping to see Patton make up some positions in the race, as well as Rasto. I'm going to be hoping to get some places and have a good race for his first race in the community. Hello Patton. Welcome to this stream. You've done all right there. It's not too bad. You're not too far off the pace. There's certainly plenty of opportunity to make that time back up in the race. So don't worry about it. We've hit 2 digits on viewers, so welcome. And it was a good lap from AP, but an even better lap from you, Sumo. Very close between the two of you for that 4th place. So, but yeah, we have Vardy on pole. But oh my goodness, Paus did a lap right at the end that I didn't even notice. I was too busy reading chat. He did a 1 minute 9.0. I was just talking so much about how he was so close to Sumo, and then he blows it out of the water with a 1 minute 9.0, goes second place. And that demotes Scott to third, crucially. So Scott will have less of a leverage to get a good start on Vardy into turn 1. And yeah, that's a very good lap from AP. So it's Vardy on pole, AP Palfs in second, Scott in third, the championship rival, Aces versus Kings in fourth, Sumo fifth, Aaron sixth, Speed Alcoholic seventh, and Davila eighth, Rasto ninth, Bluey 10th, Patterson 11th, Tier 12th, and rounding off the grid in 13th will be... who was it? Oh, it was S-Man, that's the one. So, very professional commentary here as Ghost remembers what the grid was. But yeah, we're hoping for a good race here. I think it will be a good race. There's going to be a lot of places that are going to be decided by penalties here. Track limits is very difficult to keep an eye on here in Canada. But yeah, that was a crucial lap from AP for the championship. Scott's going to have a much harder time getting past Vardy at the start from third place on the grid than he would from second place. So he'll be probably just looking to secure second place here, Scott. But before that lap from Pals, he would have been thinking maybe I can get past Vardy at turn 1 and hold him up for long enough to maybe back him into the rest of the grid and keep him under pressure, but Vardy leads us off here for the formation lap. And it is him on pole again, with Paus right beside. It is on the outside lane for turn 1, but I forgot to, so... Some support, question mark, from Paul there for Patterson, but yeah, we're hoping for him to have a good race. We're hoping for everyone. Oh, just as I say, he gets disqualified from the formation lap, but yeah, we'll be hoping for everyone to have a good race here. But I think particularly Rasto for his first race in the community. He's qualified a very respectable 9th place. Just behind Davila and Speed Alcoholic, who will probably be very disappointed with 7th. Aaron will not be disappointed with 6th. That's a good qualifying position for him. Sumo 5th by the finest of margins from Aces versus Kings in 4th. And of course, Palfs lines up 2nd, just behind Vardy, with Vardy's championship rival Scott in 3rd. Make it a good one, Palfs. Let's hope so. It looks like Palfs is backing up the rest of the grid here to try and give Vardy cold tyres to get the better of him at the start. And it looks like it's worked. Vardy's a very long way ahead of the rest of the pack. So it will be Vardy on very cold tyres here, along with Patterson, of course. But here we go. We're about to start the track limits, the Canadian Grand Prix. With Vardy on pole, Palfs looking to get a good start alongside. But here we go. Lights are coming on. Here we go. 5 red lights. And we're off for the Canadian Grand Prix. It's Vardy gets a really good start, but Scott gets a much better start than Palfs. Palfs loses a position straight away to Scott, but it's Vardy who leads at the start after turn 1. Tier has left the session, so that's unfortunate for him. But We've got a timing glitch on the left, so apologies for that, but it is Vardy who leads, followed by Scott and then AP, and then it looks like Speed Alcoholics having a good battle with Aces versus Kings, who looks to the inside here, but he can't make the move stick. Maybe he can get some extra speed on the outside of this corner into the straight. As they approach turn 8 here, he looks to the inside again, but Speed Alcoholic covers him off. It's a fantastic start from Speed Alcoholic, by the way. From 7th on the grid all the way up to 4th already. But Aces vs Kings has got a run now. He uses some overtake button, takes the inside line into the hairpin, and Speed Alcoholic cannot stop him as they come around the hairpin now and onto the back straight, and Ace vs Kings has retaken his grid position. But Vardy already leads by 1.2 seconds over Scott in second, with Paus only 3/10 behind in third, and Paus will be looking to challenge Scott here. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Someone's gone off. It looks like S-Man has gone off. Or was it Rasto? Oh, it might have been Rasto. Yeah, look at that. Rasto's maybe hit the wall of champions or something there. No, it can't have been the wall of champions. It must have been sooner than that because he's gone into the pits. But it is Vardy who leads, and that gap is only growing as we head into lap 2. Tier has left the session again as the classic Tier internet problems rear their ugly head again. That's such a shame for Rasto on his debut race in the community, already having to stop in the pits. But here comes Paus on Scott. We'll ride on board with Paus for this battle. We've also got a battle between Sumo and Aaron here, which is probably closer, so we'll keep an eye on that. Speed Alcoholic has already... Speed Alcoholic's dropped to 9th after his fantastic start to get into 4th, and he's dropped all the way back to 9th again, so I've no idea what happened there. Paus doesn't quite have the speed to challenge Scott here as Vardy continues to grow that gap, but here comes Sumo as well. On Aaron, the gap is small between these two battles as Paus versus Scott and Sumo versus Aaron for 2nd and 6th respectively. And Patterson is also looking to get in on this battle. He's made up 3 positions from the start, as has Davila. So great starts for both of them. It was a good start for Speed Alcoholic, but I have no idea what happened to him to go all the way back down to 9th. Apologies for missing that one. But we're looking here. Sumo gets a poor exit there, but it looks like Patterson got an equally poor exit. So that gap remains stable, but we've got a good 3-car battle on our hands here for 6th place, and we've got a very close battle between Scott and Paus. Scott getting the better of Paus at the start, as usual for Scott, with his great starts in these races. But Paus will be looking for revenge. He'll look to come back at Scott here after his fantastic qualifying lap. And he wants to secure that 2nd place because Vardy is, let's face it, way off into the distance now. But all this battling has allowed Aces versus Kings to catch back up as well, and he'll be also looking to secure some more points for his championship race. It looks like, oh my god, Davila's got a puncture. What's happened there? Davila's got a puncture and he's going to drop all the way back down, and it looks like Paus has dropped positions as well, and he might have had a moment out of turn 2. It's very easy to do, but Speed Alcoholic comes into the pits as well. There's some big moments going on here that I'm missing. I'm not doing a very good job here. But Bluey's gotten past S-Man as well, or was that just them getting past Davila? I think that was it. And Davila gets a puncture on the home straight, so he's going to have to go all the way around the entire track with a puncture to get that fixed, and that is a disaster for the man in the Haas. I've no idea what happened to him, but... And Bluey is retired from the session. What's happened there? We'll ride on board with Davila to see if we can see Bluey's stricken car. There it is. It looks like he's had a moment outside on the exit of turn 9, and Bluey is out of the race. That's such a shame for the Alfa Romeo. He was doing well, and it's a poor showing for Alfa Romeo in general, really, as Speed Alcoholic sits at the back. We've got a safety car in full course yellow, as Vardy was already past the pit lane as the safety car was called. So he's not going to be able to pit until the next lap, as Scott comes in for mediums, but has to wait a little bit for Paus and Aaron to go back past. And Paus again loses out to Aces versus Kings, but wow, I was changing to all the wrong cars there. every time something happened, I was on the other battle, and then I'd switch back to the battle where something happened, and then something happened in the other battle. So very professional job from me, but there were certainly some things that happened there. Davila finally gets his car into the pits with that stricken front right tyre. But at least he'll be able to catch back up to the pack with this safety car. See what tyres he goes on. Looks like the mediums. He's going to get his wing repaired too, of course. All this promotes Rasto up to 9th. And Tia from 12th on the grid is now 6th place, and this is fantastic news for Red Bull. As they also look to win their championship fight with McLaren, currently on 288 points. I have no idea what happened there. Sumo just went past for some reason. But yeah, Red Bull on 288, McLaren on 285. It's very close between the two, and right now it's Red Bull who have the edge. They would gain 3 points on their rivals as it stands, ignoring the fastest lap, which, I mean, let's be honest, Vardy's going to get fastest lap, isn't he? Unless someone pits for softs right at the end after some damage, it's probably going to be Vardy with fastest lap. I think there's a glitch going on here with Tier, because he's being passed by people under the safety car, which shouldn't be happening. But yes, we'll keep an eye on that. Patterson is sitting 7th, so he's still up 4 places from his grid position. So very good showing here from Patterson in the first few laps. And now Tier's back up to 5th again. So yeah, there's some strange goings on there with Codemasters. But yeah, I've no idea which position Tier actually is in. But he's 5th at the moment. It's probably because he hasn't pitted. I think it's still his AI driving, maybe? So that's why he's up so many positions. It's probably just because he hasn't pitted. Let's check that, actually. Given the fact that he's ghosting into people, I would wager it's probably just his AI driving. So, and yeah, there's some strange goings on there. Thank you, Codemasters, for that. So we'll stop riding on board with Tier because, wow, that is ugly to look at. But let's have a look. How do I find out? Stops, there we go. So yeah, Tier hasn't pitted yet, which makes sense, but neither has Vardy. Is Vardy going to come into the pits here? You would have thought so. But he hasn't. Vardy has stayed out on the softs for another lap. So we could have a race on our hands here. With the safety car will probably be coming in this lap, and Vardy's going to have to pit with those softs fairly soon, I would have thought. I don't think he can. Vardy's very good at managing his tyres, but I don't think he can take them more than 15 laps, absolute maximum. But we'll have to see what he's thinking, because he's the only man other than Tier not to pit under the safety car. Rasto is interesting, has gone for soft tyres in the pit stop under the safety car, so we'll keep an eye on him as well. Some alternate strategies going on, but most of the field have pitted for the mediums, and wow, okay. Okay, Codemasters. But yeah, most of the field have pitted for mediums under the safety car. And yeah, Vardy's going to be very interesting to see what he's going to do here. He's probably going to just make those softs last as long as he possibly can. As the safety car does indeed come in this lap. But yeah, Vardy will be looking to get as much of a gap as possible in this stint, and then come in and maybe for the mediums and go to the end. Perhaps that's what he's thinking. Whereas everyone else will probably have to stop again, but I'm not certain of the strategies there. As here we go, we're on racing again. Vardy has punched it here just before the chicane, and he's got a big gap to Scott. He's definitely caught him out there. Is there an incident further back? Yes, there is. Tia has... Oh no, sorry, Tia has pitted. I got excited there over nothing. But Davila is still looking to make his way back up the grid after that puncture on lap 5. But we've got some close battles going on here with Paus still in 4th. No one else has gained any positions yet. But with the DRS zone coming up in 3 laps time, it's only a matter of time. As Aaron's under significant pressure from Sumo, we'll ride on board with him. As we see Paus also getting very close to Aces versus Kings just up ahead. But Sumo looking to get past Aaron here. It looks like Paus had a little look from Aces into the hairpin, but had a lock-up and couldn't make the best of it. Is Sumo close enough to Aaron? Nope. But Rasto is close enough to Patterson as he mugs him on the exit of the hairpin, and it looks like Patterson getting mugged by several drivers here. Speed Alcoholic races fast as well. Patterson brakes late but comes into the pits, which is a very interesting decision. Has he got front wing damage? I'm not sure, but I do know that Rasto is up into 7th. He's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately. But it's Speed Alcoholic up to 8th as well. We've got Sumo right behind Aaron here. And yeah, Tia getting past Patterson after the pit stop. Patterson's gone onto the soft tyres. Someone's gone very wide there. Aaron's gone very wide. Did he forget to brake? No, he's retired from the session. So I'm not sure what happened there with Aaron. Maybe he just had to go. But well, that promotes Rasto up to 5th anyway. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, but no safety car, it looks like, or virtual safety car. Which is good news overall, I think, especially since we just had one. But yeah, it's an interesting race so far. Vardy is trying to extend the gap on those softs, but he can't do it. Scott is keeping him honest here. But it looks like Vardy is going for a one-stop strategy here. Looking to take those softs out as long as possible, and then stop for a set of mediums probably later in the race and take them all the way to the end. Vardy famously very good at tyre management, so I would not put it past him to do something like that. And there we go, there's the first track limits penalty. It was going to happen at some point. It's happened to Sumo, who's currently riding in 4th place. But he's now got a 3-second penalty for track limits. It was going to happen at some point, but Sumo is the first victim of the track limits Grand Prix. As Davila gets past S-Man on the straight here. Fairly simple pass I would have thought on the Mercedes. So Davila back up into 7th. So a recovery drive for the Haas driver, it has to be said. He had a very good start, if I remember rightly, but then his puncture on lap 5 put him all the way back down to the back of the grid, and he was very lucky the safety car came out that allowed him to be able to mount this recovery drive and get back into contention. But Rasto is here right behind Sumo. It looks like he's got some decent pace on those softs to catch up to those medium runners, but he is definitely going to have to stop again. But will the medium runners have to stop again? I'm not sure. Maybe some of you in the chat know more about the strategy around here than I do, but I would have thought the reason Vardy is taking those softs so long is because he wants to do a 1-stop and he thinks everyone else is on a 2-stop. And I'd be surprised if that wasn't the case. We've got Scott really approaching him very quickly here, so we'll ride on board with this, but we'll keep an eye on the gap between Rasto and Sumo as well. As Rasto looks to get past on those softs and gain as much of an advantage as possible. Vardy locks up into the hairpin, and here's an opportunity for Scott. Does he have DRS? Yes, he does. And is he close enough to challenge Vardy here? He's not using overtake, so he's not looking to challenge into the chicane, but perhaps he's looking to challenge into turn 1. Here he comes round the chicane. Very cautiously, it has to be said, but yes, that is indeed what he's doing. He's coming up to turn 1 now. Maybe he can make a move, but he doesn't use the overtake. He stays behind. He stays patient. As Rasto perhaps had a bad exit to the hairpin, because he's lost a lot of time on Sumo there in the 3rd sector. But we'll keep on board with Scott through the rest of the track, and we'll see if he tries to mount a move on Vardy into the 3rd sector on this lap. That's where most of the passes will be happening. There could be passes happening here. Looks like Rasto's had an off. That's such a shame for him. Probably trying to go too fast to catch back up after the mistake in Sector 3 on the last lap. And that's a real shame for the McLaren driver. And it's a big hit for McLaren in the Constructors' Championship as well. Ace vs Kings is on the hard tyres. He pitted a couple of laps ago onto the hard tyres, so he'll be definitely looking to go to the end. So that pretty much confirms my suspicion that the medium runners will have to pit again, as Scott again looks to the inside but stays patient again. Very cautious around the hairpin, gets a kick of oversteer, so he's now too far back to mount a challenge. He's saving his ERS very, very nicely. He's probably looking to work with Vardy here to gain some time on the rest of the pack, but as Palfs closes in, it looks like it might not work the way he expects it to, as looks like Rasto is into the pits again, so he'll probably go into the hard tyres, I would have thought, but we'll keep on board with this battle. We'll go on board with Palfs. He's got the best view of it all, with Sumo catching up as well. We're going to have a 4-way battle for the lead. We've got flashbacks to last Sunday at Bahrain Short, where we had a 4-car battle for the lead for the entire first stint. But this time it's a strategy battle with Vardy on the softs, and he's kept those softs on for 12 laps. He's looking to take mediums to the end with a 1 stop, I think. But here comes Scott with DRS. He's using the overtake this time. Vardy defends to the inside, but Scott goes even deeper as Vardy breaks very late into the chicane and catches Scott out there, but he does get a bad exit and Scott will use the overtake again. He looks to the inside into turn 1. Can Scott make the move on Vardy finally with his worn soft tyres? Yes, he can, and Scott is up into the lead of the race. With Palfs just behind as well, looking to profit off Vardy's compromised line thanks to Scott's overtake, but he decides not to make the move into turn 3, which is probably sensible. I've tried to make moves into that turn myself. It doesn't usually end well. But now Sumo's right on the battle as well. And Vardy is already losing a lot of time to Scott. And he's got to be thinking about coming in for the mediums pretty soon. But could this strategy decision cost Vardy? He's losing a lot of time here, probably more than he thought he would be. And he's going to have to stop for the mediums. Everyone else is going to have to stop again as well, though, other than Tia and Aces. Rasto's coming for another set of the softs, so that's a strategy decision that I would question. But it's certainly very aggressive. He thinks he has the pace to keep it up, but you can see Vardy's low on ERS there with the red flashing light on the back of the car. Palfs is looking to come back. S-Man is the second victim of track limits on here in Canada, but Palfs can't make a move quite yet. He's saving his ERS and being cautious here, but Speed Alcoholic is now also caught up to the pack. That was very fast. He was about 2 seconds behind a couple of laps ago, but he's already caught up to the pack. We'll be looking at Davilo as well to see if he can catch back up, because everyone is slowing down here in this huge battle for the lead. Vardy is keeping pace with Scott now, though, although Scott has a lot more ERS, so I don't think Vardy is capable of overtaking him, as Scott gets a penalty for multiple warnings. That was a very harsh call on track limits there as we rode on board with him, but track limits call it is, and he's now got a 3-second penalty. Will Vardy go the whole race without a penalty on this track? It remains to be seen, but Sumo gets past Palfs as Palfs also loses out to Speed Alcoholic. It looks like he had a terrible either entry or exit to the hairpin. And Paus is down to 5th now, and under pressure from his teammate as well. They've obviously communicated, please don't compromise me into the chicane. So that hasn't happened. Vardy finally comes into the pits. What tyres will he put on? I would have thought he'll be trying to take the mediums to the end here, but we'll have to see. Paus is still using ERS through turns 1 and 2, which is a questionable decision. But he's still under pressure from his teammate, but those two are always communicating during the races, and I don't think they are going to battle for position here. They're going to look to help and support each other to get the best position they can for Haas in this race. But Vardy has indeed come on to the mediums, so he's looking to undercut everyone here. As everyone else will be looking to go to around probably lap 27 or so, and then put on the softs for the final stint. So Vardy's got a big opportunity here to make up all of that lost time from being on the softs for so long, and come back up into the lead of the race when everyone else pits for the softs, but everyone else will have a good amount of pace on him. With the fresh soft tyres in the final stint, so it could be an interesting finish to this race, as Davila is still just behind Paus, and looks like he saw the same glitch that I did there, because there's a little movement of the steering wheel as if to say, what on earth was that, Paus? It's just a Dubai connection, I would have thought. Rasto gets a 3-second time penalty, and Patton also gets a 3-second time penalty. So how are we looking on the penalties right now? Tia has the most with 8 seconds. Another 5. Oh, a big moment for Davila there, but he catches the car well. Credit to him. And doesn't end up for a quick trip to the wall. But we've got a very close 4, maybe 5 car train if Davila can catch back up. All on the same strategy. So look, even if Vardy does comfortably win out with this alternate strategy, it is going to be a very interesting battle for second place between all of these 5 cars. Davila, of course, coming back from a puncture on lap 5. He's already all the way back up into this fight for second place, so he'll be pleased with the way he's fought back. Sumo gets another penalty, and it's up to 6 seconds. Vardy finally gets a 3-second time penalty. Even he is not immune to the track limits Grand Prix, but Speed Alcoholic and Davila so far are, so we'll have to see if they can keep that up. But there's still over half the race to go. So it's a very long way, and I've no idea how many warnings either of them have. So we'll have to see how that goes. Aces versus Kings on those hards is all the way down in 10th right now. And Tier all the way down in 8th. So it's been perhaps an erroneous strategy call here from Ace versus Kings on the hard tyres. But we'll have to see if he can catch back up when everyone pits for the softs here in this top 5. Davila has indeed caught back up, but no one can overtake each other at the moment. Everyone's just sitting back and helping each other with DRS and keeping within reach, but not quite enough to overtake as of yet. S-Man is within 4/10 of Vardy, so it looks like Vardy just got past him for 6th place, so they'll be... And he's already only 10 seconds behind this pack of 5 cars on those mediums that he just pit for, and you lose about 20 seconds on a pit stop, maybe a bit less in Canada. But wow, he's already within 10 seconds, and this battling is really costing these 5, as Vardy is catching up at a rate of knots, it's safe to say. And he has to be the favourite to win this race now, for sure. He might even catch up to them before any of them pit, which would be a sight to see. As these guys all still have to pit, remember, so it looks like Vardy's got this strategy spot on. As he continues to catch, it's looking like about 2 seconds per lap at the moment he's catching. But Scott finally peels into the pits. Maybe he was told of Vardy catching up so quickly. Palfs also comes into the pits. Neither of them get a penalty, which is good to see. And Scott goes on to the mediums again, as does Palfs. So they'll be looking to take those mediums to the end as well. But will the other three go the length to put on soft tyres at the end? It remains to be seen. I think at least one of them will. It'll be interesting. S-Man comes in for the hards, which is an interesting strategy. Cool! Did that take damage there? Did Davila take damage from that impact with the wall? He had a little bit of an oversteery moment out of turn 7? Yes, turn 7. And lost a lot of time to the cars ahead, as Speed Alcoholic will ride on board with. Is right behind Sumo now. Apologies for that little thing popping up in the top left. But here comes Speed Alcoholic using over the take. Going down the inside of Sumo here for the chicane. But he comes into the pit, so it won't matter anyway. As does Davila. So those two will probably be going on to the mediums again, but Sumo stays out. Is he going to go on the softs for the end of this race? We'll have to find out. Speed Alcoholic is indeed onto the mediums, and Dave also onto the mediums. But Vardy now has a huge lead from the cars behind. Where are they going to come out? Speed Alcoholic comes out of the pits. It's going to be very close with Palfs, but it's going to be Palfs who takes third place for now. As Vardy now within 6 seconds of Sumo. And I think we all know who's going to win this race unless he makes a mistake, but this man doesn't make mistakes. And it's going to be another comfortable win for Vardy, it looks like, but it looks like Scott had a moment, perhaps, on his outlap, because he's now 3.5 seconds behind, and that's crucial for the championship leader. Because as it stands, 3 spots behind Vardy, he's only going to be leading this championship by 1 point, and if Vardy gets fastest lap, he will not be leading this championship anymore after this race. So Scott will need to catch all the way back up to those, to the Haas and the Alfa Romeo ahead of him. And I would have thought he had a moment, probably. And Sumo is indeed onto the softs, but he's had to change his front wing. He maybe had an impact with the wall. So that'll cost him at least six seconds or so. As I think that was Palf setting fastest lap. So Sumo on the softs, coming out of the pits. How far behind Davila is he going to be? Not very far at all. So Sumo's one to watch here. He might be able to get back into the podium positions. He's going to be very quick on those softs. For the next few laps, but as we saw with Vardy's first stint, they're going to drop off fairly quickly, and he'll be even on pace with the mediums after around 5 or 6 laps. I would have thought. Sector 1 yellow flag. What's happened there? Oh, it's just tier glitching. Yeah, definitely just tier bugging out there. Yeah, here is Sumo still on. Speed Alcoholic is right behind Palfs as well, looking for that second place finish. Speed Alcoholics has had some unlucky races this season. He deserves more points than he has. Of course, missed the first 4 races. And he currently sits in 16th in the standings, but he deserves to be much higher than that. And there he goes, he sets the fastest lap. Speed Alcoholic making a statement to Palfs there. Palfs would have seen that fastest lap show up on the top of the screen, and he'll be very wary now, especially since Speed Alcoholic still doesn't have a penalty. So as it stands, Speed Alcoholic would take second place from Palfs, as him and Davila are the only cars on track now not to have penalties in this race. I'm not sure who that was who just got a penalty, but we'll see the penalties. Tia is on 11 seconds, Sumo on 6, and everyone else who has a penalty on 3 seconds at the moment. So we'll take that back off. But This is definitely a battle to watch. Here comes Sumo on the fresh, soft tyres. He'll be looking to get past Davila as quickly as possible here. And Speed Alcoholic has a go on Palps down the inside into the chicane. I'm sorry, I flicked to the wrong car, but that was a fantastic move from Speed Alcoholic to come down the inside into the chicane and just about kept the line on Palps, and Palps does indeed have to concede the place. So Speed Alcoholic into second place on track as well now, as Sumo did get past Davila there and sets the fastest lap in doing it as well. So Davila down to 6th now, but it's still been a decent recovery drive from him after the puncture he had earlier on. But this battle is still ongoing between Palps and Speed Alcoholic. I wouldn't expect Palps to back down here. He'll be looking to get back past for second place. He still has that penalty, but he'll be hoping that Speed Alcoholic gets a penalty as well. It's very, very difficult to go 35 laps without getting a corner cutting penalty on this track. But he's not close enough at the moment. I've been missing a lot of battles today. I apologise for that, especially in the first few laps, but it's been difficult to keep up with. It's been a very good race. A lot of things happening all the time, and a lot of strategies to keep in mind, as Palps does get a lot of closing speed there on Speed Alcoholic. But oh, and Speed Alcoholic does indeed get the penalty. There we go. 3 seconds for Speed Alcoholic. So now him and Palps are even on penalties, and this is a legitimate battle for second place now. But Palps loses time there. Speed Alcoholic gets a good exit through turns 3 and 4. And round turn 7 they go. This is pretty much the only battle on track at the moment, other than S-Man just behind Patterson down there in 9th and 10th. So we'll keep on board with this battle for now. But we'll keep an eye on Sumo as well. The current gap between him and Scott is 5.6. So we'll keep an eye on that gap and see if it reduces any further. And also Scott to this battle is only 2 seconds now, 1.8 seconds. And Scott will definitely be looking to get back into this battle. If Scott finishes 4th, he'll only be 1 point ahead of Vardy at the end of this race. So he'll definitely be wanting to join in here and get into the battle for second place between Palps and Speed Alcoholic. They are slowing each other down, but I'm not sure Scott is fast enough to catch them. The gap is still only 2 seconds as it stands. And it looks like those softs are already wearing out for Sumo. The gap between him and Scott is increasing, sorry. And Tier gets another 3-second time penalty, and Dave will be looking to get back onto Sumo here as well. As those tyres wear out, and Sumo went for a gamble. He might as well, but it looks like it might not work out here for him. But yeah, you're right, Aaron. It's a fantastic battle between Palps and Speed Alcoholic right now. What happened to you, by the way? I saw you just retire the car, so did something come up or something? So it was a shame, because you were racing very well there. And Davila finally gets a penalty, and Scott gets another penalty. Safety car has been deployed. Who's gone off? It's Aces versus Kings has gone off at the hairpin, it looks like. You can see on the mini-map on the right. And brought out the safety car, which has really mixed things up. And has set up a fantastic end to this Grand Prix. Is Vardy going to come in for the softs? I think he'd be foolish not to. But that's, I think, bad news for Sumo, but actually, no, perhaps good news for Sumo, because it means he will not be under pressure from Davila at the end anymore for this race. But it's certainly good news for us as neutrals, as Oh, sorry, that's the safety car. I thought that was a Renault gone off at turn 1, turn 2. But no, it's the safety car on track. And Vardy does indeed come into the pits. Who else is going to come into the pits? Speed Alcoholic stays out, so he's going to be ahead of Vardy. Pals also stays out. Scott doesn't. Scott pits. I'm assuming these guys are all going to go on the softs. It would be certainly an interesting strategy decision if they didn't. Sumo comes in as well. Davila comes in. The Hasses are splitting their strategy here, and it's all about the top 6. As Speed Alcoholic now leads this race ahead of Palfs. Vardy comes out of the pits in 3rd place. All of these guys have a penalty, at least 1. So Scott and Sumo are the only ones with more than 1 penalty right now. So I think it's pretty much all about the top 3 now. Maybe Davila might get a hand in as well. He's going to be on the soft tyres for this safety car restart. But Sumo, Scott and Vardy also all on that same strategy. And Speed Alcoholic and Palfs have stayed out. They've taken a gamble. They're going to stay out on the mediums to the end of the race. And they're going to try to keep this Red Bull behind. But I think that's going to be a very tall order. Depending on how long the safety car stays out. If the safety car stays out for a few laps here, that could really hamper Vardy. Because if you get a bad exit out of the hairpin here, or even if the car ahead gets a good exit out of the hairpin, it's very tough. It's very tough to actually overtake, because the closing speeds is not as much as you might have thought. If you can't get an equal exit out of the hairpin to the car you're battling with. Oh, your food shopping delivery turned up. Oh. Sorry about that, man. That sucks. You were racing well as well. But yeah, it is what it is. That's life. Can't avoid it. You know, some days you might have the bin of your neighbour's house catch on fire. No, I keep going on about it, but I just find it funny. That's the reason I had to retire from a race. But safety car's still out here. It's probably going to be in this lap, I would have thought. But it's certainly given S-Man and Rasto an opportunity to come back into this race as well, because they've been quite far behind. Yeah, we're all here for fun at the end of the day. That's what it's all about, isn't it? The bin. And the safety car is indeed in this lap. So Speed Alcoholic leads the way. He's going to dictate the pace here. He's going to go very slowly on the exit of this hairpin. The timing line is it start-finish line on this track? It's the start-finish line on most tracks. But yeah, all of these drivers, especially these drivers behind, are going to be looking to get a good start on the softs. But Speed Alcoholic and Palf stayed out on the mediums. Will it cost either of them a podium that they were otherwise pretty much guaranteed? It remains to be seen, but Speed Alcoholic has punched it now. Vardy got caught off guard there, it looks like. Scott and Sumo can't mount a challenge on him, though, as Palfs and Speed Alcoholic come through turn 2. Vardy's really the man to watch here. On those fresh softs just behind Speed and Palfs, with 6 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Can he catch and overtake them before the end? And can he set fastest lap as well? Because that's worth a point, and could well get him into the lead of this championship. But he's already having a go on Palfs here, using the overtake, taking the inside line, but only just having a look as Palfs gets a poor exit out of turn 7. But here we go into the hairpin. This is crucial. Entry and exit. Will Vardy be close enough? Yes, he gets a much better exit than Palfs in the hairpin. And Paus is going to be very vulnerable here, even without DRS. They've both got a lot of overtake, but Vardy's got the slipstream. He's got the fresher tyres. He had the better exit out of the hairpin. Here he goes down the inside into the chicane, and he takes the racing line, and Paus is compromised hugely, and oh no, it's all gone wrong. Oh my goodness me. Paus had an oversteering moment on the exit of the chicane, and it looks like, I think he took out, it was a Renault, I think, Sumo's front wing, and then Scott got taken out as well, which is fantastic news for Vardy as the virtual safety car is now deployed. But with that incident with Scott going right to the back of the grid, that means Vardy is going to be leading the championship after this race as it stands. Speed Alcoholic will be looking to gain some time in this virtual safety car, and Vardy will be looking to not lose any. He can't afford to lose any time here. The virtual safety car, the idea of it is that everyone has the same gap, just a bit slower, and then when it ends, the same gaps will be present between all the cars. But usually that's not how it goes. It's just a little delta you have to keep up with. And there we go, the virtual safety car is gone, and Vardy has indeed lost a tiny bit of time, maybe. Oh no, the gap was 1.3 already, so nothing lost or gained there for either driver. But it's going to be a fight to the finish here between Speed Alcoholic in the Alfa Romeo and Vardy in the Red Bull. Davila, against all odds, is currently in third place. After his puncture on lap 5, he's fought all the way back, took advantage of the misfortunes of others, and he's now in a podium position. Can Sumo take it off him? Well, as it stands, no, because Sumo has 6 seconds of penalties compared to Davila's 3. So as it stands, Davila is in prime position to take third place here, and what a great result that would be for the driver in the Haas, who's pretty much replaced Paus in third place right now after that incident at the exit of the chicane. We'll have to have a look at that again from Paus's stream later, because there's another virtual safety car, which again is going to hamper Vardy some more, and he's going to be so unhappy to see that virtual safety car. There's another time penalty for Paus. I'm not sure what's caused the VSC. Perhaps it was one of these two spinning, because no one else looks like they're off the track. But that's huge news for Speed Alcoholic. Indeed, it has been a great recovery drive from Davila. And let's hope he can keep it up there. But this is huge news. Vardy, with every virtual safety car, has less time to overtake Speed Alcoholic before the end. And he'll be looking at that virtual safety car every single time it happens and thinking, is this race just not for me? Are the racing gods looking down and thinking, no, you're not going to win this race? If there's another virtual safety car, he'll definitely be thinking that. But as it stands, 5 tenths behind. Huge battle here. There's another battle for third as well between Davila, Sumo and Patterson, who is up to 5th place in all this carnage. And somehow all the way up into 5th, he started 12th on the grid, or was it 11th? I think it was 11th actually. But here comes Vardy now, on Speed Alcoholic. He's got the overspeed, he's got DRS, he's got the overtake button. Speed Alcoholic's only got so much in the tank. Here he comes, with 2 laps to go. Vardy takes the inside line and overtakes Speed Alcoholic. Speed Alcoholic's going to have another go on the exit, but Vardy's going to have the DRS. And that will be the win for Vardy, you have to think. But wow, what an exciting end it has been, thanks to the safety cars and virtual safety cars. Could have been Speed Alcoholic winning this race, but it looks like he's run out of time now. But it turned out that strategy call to stay on the mediums was a good one from the Alfa Romeo driver. And he's going to get 2nd place as a result from it. Unless Vardy gets another penalty. What is the penalty situation? They're still all on 3. Sumo's on 9 seconds right now. So as it stands, he loses out to Patterson, and Patterson would go up into 4th place with only a 3-second penalty. Here he is. and they're all very close to Dave, and if if he plays his cards right, and if Dave makes a mistake, Patterson could find himself on the podium. And what a story that would be, from 11th on the grid. Position change, so Davila is up 5, so he started 8th as well, but Patterson up 6, Tia up 6, S-Man up 6. And there's a big battle going on ahead, and Davila has indeed made a mistake, and he's lost a chunk of front wing. Sumo looked like he went down the inside into turn 1, and Davila held the outside but got a kick of oversteer on the exit of turn 1 coming into turn 2, and he's now lost a chunk of front wing. I don't know if Sumo has lost any front wing as well. Patterson now goes down the inside of Sumo, but no! He just overcooked it on the exit of turn 7 to try and get past the Renault. Just not having enough patience there to stay behind and wait for the DRS zone. It is lap 35 of 35, but that's such a shame for Patterson. He could have been on the podium if he'd just been a little more patient, maybe. But it looks like this is going to be the final standings, unless Tia can get past Patterson at the end here. Vardy is going to win the race, but we'll keep an eye on this battle because this is huge for the Constructors' Championship as well. Every point counts, and Tia does indeed get past Patterson. Will Patterson try and do a late braking move? One of his specials. He will, and will he get past Tia? No, it's bugging out a bit. I'm not sure who's ahead. But oh, it looks like Patterson has taken 4th place thanks to the penalty situation. Sumo is demoted to 5th after his 9 seconds of penalties. But wow, what a finish to this race. Vardy wins the race for Red Bull. That's his 6th win in a row in this championship. And he is going to take the lead of the championship after the commotion on lap 33, I think it was, or 32. And wow, what an end to this race. Patterson, 4th place, brilliant stuff. Tier 727 driver of the day. Here they come onto the podium, and it is another win for Vardy, but it's Speed Alcoholic who takes 2nd place. It's his first podium of the season, and he's deserved more than that, so he'll be very happy to get that podium. And Davila also on the podium, his 2nd, 3rd place in a row, in fact. I'm not sure who got fastest lap. It was probably Vardy, but we'll have to find out. But wow, what a race at the end. I was struggling to keep up with everything. And no, it was Pals who got the fastest lap, of course, because him and Scott had to pit at the end. So Pals steals fastest lap after what was an extremely disappointing end to the race for him. Just an oversteering moment out of the final chicane after being overtaken by Vardy, and then losing some front wing in a collision with, I think it was Sumo, and then Scott got caught up the worst, and him and Pals both had to pit. Sumo could stay out, and yeah, so it's Vardy who wins the race. Speed Alcoholic in 2nd, and Davila in 3rd. Patterson a brilliant 4th from 11th on the grid. Sumo 5th. Tier 6th, sorry, after a lot of penalties. S-Man 7th. Rasto finishes 8th in his debut race in the community. Great stuff from him. Scott finishes 9th. And Vardy will take the lead of the championship as a result. Palfs in 10th with fastest lap, and then DNFs from Aces vs Kings, Aaron and Bluey. So Vardy in 1st, and Scott finished... Where did he finish? Did he finish 9th? I think Scott finished 9th. So that means Vardy will now be leading the championship by 4 points after this race. Barring any stewards' inquiries, there may well be some. But from race results alone, it will be Vardy leading the championship after that race. 6 wins in a row for the man. But wow, what a race from everyone. Thank you all for watching. Fastest lap to Palfs, yeah, in spite of everything else. He still managed to grab fastest lap. It was very close laps between him and Scott. And Patson, you did very well. You capitalized on everyone else screwing up, and kept your head through the safety cars, and did a good job in the end, and finished 4th place for your efforts. So great job. Yeah, and it will be Red Bull definitely leading the championship by more than 3 points after this race, because it was a poor finish from McLaren. But wow, what an interesting race. But thank you all for watching. Leave a like, and I'll see you next time. I'll be racing on Sunday, I think. Hopefully. So I'll see you then. Go catch Sweeney's stream on Sunday, 5:45. I think the race usually is, but I'm not sure. It might be changed because of the Grand Prix. Keep an eye on the Facebook page. Keep an eye on the Discord, and I'm sure it will all be announced. But thanks for watching, and thanks, Passon. Appreciate that. Yeah, I struggled to keep up with a lot of things. There were a lot of things that happened that I missed. So apologies for that. But I tried to keep up as best as I could. But yeah, cheers all for watching, and I'll see you soon.